back. This is part 10 of the video workbox. In today's project we're going ahead and get started on the left wing wall. It's going to hold our two 80mm fan intakes and our USB audio hubs as well. So if you want to follow me on my workstation, I'll show you what we got planned for today. Alright, looking down on my pin display here, you can see kind of the rendering of the idea that we're going to start working on today. We're going to build this left wing wall with our two 80mm fan intakes. We got two LED panels that we're going to install here. There's going to be 6 LEDs that are going to shine right down here on these fan intakes. And as I zoom in here a little bit, you guys can get a better idea of what we're going to build. We're going to use a couple of different plumbing fixtures to simulate some air ducts and steam pipes. And then over here on our USB and audio hub, I'm going to use an old USB audio hub from an old PC of mine. And then we're just going to mod that out as well. And then we're just going to stick that into the side. We're going to simulate some steam pipes and vents in there as well. And then we're just going to finish it off by doing all the paneling detail right over the top. This is probably going to be the most technical part of the build so far because all the wiring housing behind here and the configuration of the fans. So let's head over to my workstation and start taking out some measurements for these panels and get this project underway. Alright, I just went ahead and just did a little bit of measurements here. The piece that I'm looking to cut here is about 16 inches long, about 8.5 inches high. Now I've already went ahead and cut out my first piece in a 0.40mm stock styrene. And this is just going to slide down the side of the panel just like so. We'll create 2 of these pieces and then we'll build up all the structural supports in between. And then what I need to do is go ahead and just take my 3-inch hole saw attachment and just drill out 2 80mm fan holes here. I'm not sure exactly where I want to put the holes, but I'm thinking right here on this area because the motherboard tray is going to be right behind this panel. So what I need to do right now is go ahead and take this piece of stock styrene, start measuring out the areas where I want to drill those holes, and then get this part attached and start building up the structural supports in between the panels. Alright, looking down on my stock styrene piece here, I got this cut down to 8.5 by 16 inches. And I'm going to use a little trick from MMPC Tech on this part of the build. I'm just going to first mark out level here, determine where and how high I want those fan holes to be. And then I'm just going to use an 80mm fan grill to determine where my holes will be and the center point to the circle. So once I've discovered level here, I'm just going to lay down the fan grill, mark it on my my center point there, and just mark out the center points and the areas for the 4 screw holes as well. And once I got that discovered, I can go ahead and just drill out my first pilot hole, and then I'll just use my 3-inch hole saw attachment to drill these holes out. Alright, I just finished cutting out the holes here for my 80mm fan intakes. What I need to do right now is start building out on these walls a little bit. On the back here, I'm going to create some brackets in the back where I'm going to have all my wiring housing that's going to hold my Molex connectors for the LED panels that we're going to create, and also the power assembly for the 80mm fan intakes as well. I started constructing this little template here. This is going to be basically the outline for a roof outline, and this is just going to be built upon the structure just like so, and then we'll build everything off that. So what I need to do now is just go ahead and start cutting out the structural supports and start building and assembling the pieces. Alright, I just went ahead and just finished my interior assembly here for my 80mm fan intakes. And like I said before, these are our round mortise mesh from MMPC Tech that we're going to use for our fan grills. And they're just going to slide right into these panels just like so. And we'll also secure those in there with a little bit of epoxy. And I'll hold those in there nice and tidy. Then I'll just brace those in there with some scrap styrene just to create some supports. And then the fans will just go right over the top of that. Alright, I finished cutting out my panel here. All our roofline structures are just going to build right off this. And this will just go ahead and be attached right to this wall, just like so. What I need to do right now is just go ahead and get these attached and start building out the walls on top of this, and install some LEDs inside those panels there to shine down right on top of those fan intakes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started building this structure right now. I just went ahead and attached the panel here. I just got the LEDs hooked up to a 12-volt power adapter right now, and they look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how they look. I got a little bit of a light leak there underneath some of the panels, but when I attach all my paneling detail and some of the finish detailed panels, that'll clean out those areas up really nice. So let's go ahead and start finishing up the rest of this panel. We're going to go ahead and work over here a little bit more, build out this area, get some steam pipes in here coming down from this area, some piping along the bottom, and of course all the paneling detail that's just going to go right over the top of these pieces. So let's go ahead and get cracking on that so we can get this part of the build finished up. Alright, I'm just starting to build out on the roof line just a bit more. I'm starting to work on over here on the USB tower and audio hub. I'm just using this template from the roof line from the LED towers that we created here just a bit earlier, and just transferring this template to this one here, and just sanding them down, make sure they're a perfect fit, and then we'll just go ahead and start building off this area right here. But just need to sand these down and just make sure they're completely perfect before I get them attached to the side of the panel here. Alright, we just finished up all the raw construction here. I just finished up all the Dremel holes and just did a little bit of a light sanding for prep for paint. So I'm going to go ahead and just mix up some primer right now and get my first coats of primer sprayed on. Alright, I'm just mixing up a little bit of German gray and flat black here, and just adding a touch of my Tamiya thinner. I put a couple stencils right over the fan holes here, the 80mm fan holes, just so I don't spray into the fans. So I'm just going to load this into my airbrush and start spraying on the first coat. Alright, I just finished up on a graphic here. I just installed this one right up here, and then I just put these little generators in here in the bottom. What I want to do right now is just take a little bit of my gunmetal finished here and just start going in and start highlighting some edges with my liner brush, and just making some of these little generators and some of these little kind of little model pieces just pop out just a little bit more. And I'm just going to go in and just do a dry brush technique on those things right now. Alright, we just finished up some of our washes here. We just used a mixture of our Tamiya thinner and a little bit of our rust color and a little bit of our flat black, and then we just thin that out, and we just started just dropping in some color right around all these little panels here, just where you think water and oil would just gather up naturally, and it just comes out with a pretty realistic effect there. You can kind of see the washed out areas, the stained areas, and kind of simulating grease and oil and rust, and it's a pretty easy effect to achieve. what I need to do right now is go ahead and work on this pipeline, and once we get that done, then we can attach this to the side of the case and finish up part 10. Alright, I'm just finishing up here by adding a little bit of metallic silver and Payne's Gray to create some scratch marks and chips to the paint here, just to give it a little bit more realism. As you can see, we got the side panel attached to the side of the case. We got both 80mm fans spinning up, as well as the two LED panels illuminated and the red LEDs back here behind the generator as well. In closing here, guys, I just want to mention that I started a Computer Modders forum page over at bluehorsestudios.blogspot.com. If you guys have a project out there that you're building that you want featured over on the site, head over to the site, subscribe to the site, it's completely free. Send your pics, a little bit on your project and a little bit on yourself to the contact information there, and I'll get your project uploaded for you. So I just want to send a very special thanks out to my subscribers, special thanks to my sponsor, MNPC Tech. Stay inspired, guys, keep creating, and I'll see you in part 11.